infrastructure. And also, we are trying to develop the road network in city. But at least it is not a good choice because it is not easy for us to acquire the line in the city because they are very, very expensive. Next. Next, I think. Sip, yeah. And also, in the Jabodetabek approach for the rail and road-based public mass transit, we are going to solve the bottleneck system capacity. What are you going to do? One is we are going to increase the number of operating BRT buses. And then after that, enhance full factor to draw passenger to public transport. We are going to construct the first MRT line between Lebak Bulus and Kota. And after that, in order to relocate terminal facility for intercity express services, we are going to integrate transport terminal and train off city center. For example, Pulau Gerbang intercity bus terminal. And then you know that now we have a regulatory body. We have a BPJT, Badan Pengelola Jalan Tol. This is related to the toll road. And also managing demand through push, we are going to build the motorcycle ban at road section, and after that, we have to prepare for congestion charging implementation. Next, this case of urban agglomeration in Jabodetabek area. We have 6 agglomeration city in Indonesia. One in Jabodetabek, and then another one is Medan in surrounding area, Surabaya in surrounding area, Bandung also, Makassar, and then Pasar. You see, in case in Jabodetabek area, you know that we have a big homework. You can see there is a congestion cost in here, operation cost of congestion right now almost achieve 70.2 trillion rupiah per year. This is equal with 12 billion US dollar. And also full inefficiency achieve around 10 trillion rupiah per year. This is equal to 8 billion US dollar. So I think this is our homework, how to reduce the fuel inefficiency and also cost of traffic congestion in Jabodetabek area. That's why we are trying to build a mass transportation in Jakarta, such as MRT, LRT, and also full BRT. Next. Okay, this is, okay, I'm trying. Okay, and then I think this is the information about the Jabodetabek area, and then you see I'm going to show you that there is a shifting between motorcycle increase but mass transportation decrease. Next. I think we can skip this one. Next, just skip also. And this one, just skip also. Yeah, this is Jakarta MRT 2017. We are going to operate this MRT for the first phase is around 2018, inshallah. And then next, this is elevated railway loop line. We are going to start to build the railway loop line 2018. Next, this is LRT in Jakarta and also other cities like Palembang and Bandung. Next, in Jakarta, we are going to also the monorail, start 2019. Next, this is the supporting mass transit development. We have a pilot project in Bogor, Park and Ride, the bottom side in left. And also, we have also parking meter in Bandung. This is the first time in Indonesia. And also, we are going to integrate bit among the mode of transportation like inland waterways and land transportation. This is the pilot project in Palembang. This is the down right side. Next. I think we can skip this one also. And also skip this one. I think go to the last page. Page 34. So what we expect from the international partners? The first one is we need a technical and analytical support in developing transportation policies and planning. for the short, medium, and long term. And the second one is we need a technical assistance for preparation. We study detailed engineering design and also master plan in transport project. And the last one is we need an assistant on transport project construction, particularly in sustainable transport area. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Anybody can advise if this is working or not? No? We have to speak from there? Is it working now? Okay. So I really want to maybe apologize and thank you. You have been a beautiful, patient audience. We've exceeded the time by 10 minutes because remember we started 10 minutes late. And we want to respect your patience and presence and maybe skip further internal discussion among the panel members and open the floor for the audience if they have any question for any of the panel members. Is that fair? Okay. So, please, I don't know if there is any microphone around, but if anybody has any question, if you still have the patience to bear with us, yes, it would be nice to have some lights also in the audience. Yes, there is a question at the front here, please. Please briefly introduce yourself and if you want to direct your question to any specific panel member or in general.
Thank you. This is Tim Yang from China Economic Daily ASEAN Bureau and also from Jakarta Foreign Correspondent Club. My question is, because I believe that this is 41 and maybe 42, there will be a new player in this forum, AIIB. So,
can you turn up the sound?
hello?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Start again?
Yes.
Okay. This is Tim Yang from China Economic Daily ASEAN Bureau and also from Jakarta Foreign Correspondent Club. My question is that maybe next year there will be a new player in this conference, AIIB. So the question will be, if we focus Indonesia, so what might be the ADB and WB and Gs and all the multilateral funding system to the suggestion to cooperate more on the climate friendly transportation here in Indonesia, because we just know that AIIB and ADB are joined hands to have the first loan to Pakistan, and it happened to be a toll road project. So this is the first question. The second might be a little bit tougher, because I have a confession to make. Is when Dr. Nancy is saying about action, actually I go to JCC this morning by taxi, which is not so climate friendly comparing to the bicycles and public transportation. Even today is a car-free day in Jakarta. So, and I propose this question to other people, whether you will use electronic bicycles here in Jakarta. They said it might be fail because the petroleum is the price is very low, and the electronic bicycle, the speed is comparatively slow. So here's the question: is that the consumer habits is kind of like difficult to change, and what might be because we have talking about how to build new climate transportation system, how to make the efficiency of the existing ones, which should we pay more attention to, the new one and the existing one? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think there is a problem in the echo of the sound. I mean, the colleague was very clear and spoke very clearly, but we on the panel here were not able to catch most of the. I'm trying to. Yeah, this one actually helps if you can put this on, even if, using your own language of English. So let us try to take one or two more questions, and then we will come back to the answers. Yes, over there, please.
My name is Monsef Ziani from Morocco. I am a consultant engineer. I have been involved in some friendly transportation systems in Morocco. And I would like to mention that the lesson we have now from the Moroccan experience is that it's more and more easy to find financing to construct, to make new friendly climate transportation, but it is more difficult to run them because we are in developing countries with with population unable to afford high prices. So you have to subsidize these transportation systems, and it's very, very difficult in our countries. And the governments are not always ready to subsidize this friendly transportation system in the cities. Thank you.
So thank you very much again. Let's try to answer the first two questions. The first one, I think, if I were able to catch, the first part of the question was about AIIB as a new development bank coming to the development community, and what role maybe by next year they will be here. I think I already understand from my part that they've already engaging in partnerships. Some actually have already signed formal MOUs about co-financing and partnership on knowledge events and knowledge and development issues. And maybe ADB or World Bank can say a few words. I know there have been some early contacts. From IDB side, we have already contacted them, and we are, as we discussed with them, we also are an infrastructure bank, but without the title, because we, as I said in my introductory remarks, 90% of IDB financing goes to infrastructure. So we expect to have a major collaboration with the AIIB, not only on transport, but on all the infrastructure sector that they will focus on. Briefly, please. Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think as I think the commenter was referring to, in the case of Asian Development Bank, the two presidents signed a memorandum of understanding at our annual meeting in Frankfurt last week, pledging to work in cooperation. Following this first project in Pakistan, which is in final stages of preparation, we are expecting there to be an expansion of cooperation. But at this stage, I think that probably it's fair to say that we're still waiting for AIIB to complete the process of recruiting its own staff. And it's when it has a full staff, it will become clearer the sorts of areas that it considers priority. It might have a choice to enter certain sectors as a lead lender, or it may, I think there have been some expectations that it may initially do, to some extent, co-financing of projects. So, based on what I mentioned in my presentation earlier, my expectation would be that for a new bank, in order that's aiming to be prudent in its approach to lending, it might have merit in starting with simpler projects, or starting with projects where they have partners such as ADB, where they may have be able to put heads together and work jointly on the complexity. Some of the projects we've been talking about today have a high level of complexity, but until they have completed recruitment of staff and indicated their operational priorities, this is just some thoughts, and we'll have to wait and see. From the ADB side, we certainly look forward to cooperating with them.
Nancy?
From the World Bank Group point of view, as you may know, we are already working with the AIIB in the context of the Global Infrastructure Facility. Very importantly, we consider this bank as a very important partner going forward, and we very much embrace the idea of expanding the current multilateral development group to include the EIB going forward.
The Vice President of the AIIB will be one of the keynote speakers in one of our forums with the governors. So that's part of the growing relationship of this new bank, which we all welcome. I think, Courtney, you want to take try on the second question?
The question was like that it's increasingly easy to get the funding to build the sustainable transport infrastructure, but then how do we maintain it? And I think that this goes back to what a number of speakers have been talking about system change. So if we take the old system, which is, you could say, the car-dependent paradigm, and if you look at how government funding has been directed, like government funding has been directed to building the infrastructure, the government funding is directed to pay for the people being killed in transport. Relatively little has been said about road safety in the panel today, but it is a big problem as well. We also know that currently there's still $500 billion being paid to subsidize the car drivers through fuel subsidies. So the challenge is that if we talk about system change and about transforming the transport system in terms of modal shift, we also need to change the way that the transport sector is being financed. We need to look at the incentives and the disincentives. This is where I think that Nancy spoke about the need for carbon pricing. It is clear that we need to look at if people are behaving in an unsustainable manner from the perspective of climate, we need to make certain that there is a price on this. And at the same time, the revenues coming from that can then also be used to subsidize and to provide the subsidies. But I think it is key that any government which is engaging in building sustainable transport infrastructure and services needs to think this through and say, like, how can we afford to run it? The city where I live in Shanghai, they have a very simple measure. They say that we have a vehicle quota, so that means that each month only 7,000 new vehicles can enter the road. And in order to get a car, you need to first buy the license. This auction generates $1 billion a year. So in a city like Shanghai, so if you consider that you have $1 billion a year, you can do a lot in terms of also to provide incentives to public transport. So system change in terms of modal shift needs to be accompanied by system change in the way that we are financing the entire transport system.
Thank you very much. I know, again, I'm sorry we are encroaching on the time of other events around, and anybody has any further question before we close? Yes, the last question coming from the last row, please.
Hi, my name is Yoga from ITDP. I actually have a question for Dr. Walid. Also, as a moderator, also as the representative from the IDB. Basically, I just want to, find out like what's the, the outcome of this seminar or this event can lead or direct the new investment portfolio for the IDB, especially on the urban transport sector. Thank you.
The outcome of this event, you said? You mean the seminar?
Yeah, this very event. Like how
Okay, well,
would you see this will change the direction of IDB investment?
Yes, actually this was going to lead me to asking each panel member at the end to give 1 minute takeaway or main outcome, and how will change the way they do their normal business from within their institution. And maybe I can start with this, since the question was addressed to me, to not give the impression that I'm avoiding the question. Definitely, as I said, IDB already allocates 90% to infrastructure. Of that, 35% goes to transport, but not any transport. As we all heard, approach needs to be changed. We need now to pay more attention to a holistic approach to transport and mobility instead of individual project-wise approach, paying more attention to sectors within the transport, the modal shift, attaining basically safety, inclusiveness, efficiency, and access. All these are balancing, sometimes competing objectives that need to be put together in a coherent policy, which we are now finalizing for the transport, like all other MDBs. But I don't want to take too much of my time, but the financing, of course, as we said, eventually we will continue to finance building roads. We are not saying that, much like in the discussion of the energy about financing fossil fuel or coal and their impact on the climate. In transport, we will continue to see 57 countries that are member of IDB. 28 of them are least developed member country in the classification of the United Nations. All of them has very large deficit in infrastructure, especially in transport. Their access to transport services is extremely low. So we will continue to address those needs, which normally require soft loans and concessional resources, but we will have to make shifts in other countries that are more developed and have different challenges in transport and mobility, especially when it comes to climate. But maybe 1 minute by each panelist to see how will this seminar to answer the question, and we can use that to answer the question and wrap up the seminar one by one, starting from you, Tara.
I hope it's okay. From the seminar, I think we have seen that something is beginning to take shape at the high level globally. Many people are talking about much the same thing, and there's hope that within a few years there can be clarity about what makes sense in transport, and that can feed through for governments in also taking this as something that makes sense and they should pursue. I think that we, whilst being very keen to look for optimism, I think we should not underestimate the level of difficulty in actually doing this, and a lot of support with donor grant money is needed for that. Finally, from an MDB point of view, I sort of repeat the words of ADB's president. He wants our bank to become faster, bigger and better. Many of the countries are tired of the bureaucracy of MDBs. They want them to move quickly, otherwise they don't want to borrow from those banks. We need to scale up the financing with more ambitious models, as I mentioned in my presentation, and we need to improve the quality, focusing on the sustainable types of transport. Thank you.
Will the World Bank change? Of course. Three messages. One is the importance of the global engagement and the need of a vision and program of action and coalition. I think, although we didn't have the chance to really interact on this, we very much believe that this is the way forward, and we will hear more over the coming months on that. In terms of the portfolio is very much an access portfolio. So most of what we do support Goal 1. Clearly, if we want to be implementing the SDG and the climate targets, we need to move towards Goal 2, 3, and 4. That will have major implication on the portfolio in terms of mostly addressing the policy agenda. We talked about efficiency, we talk about safety, we talk about fossil fuel reform. This is the future. And then finally, in Paris, the World Bank, as many other MDBs, have actually committed to increase significantly the share of their portfolio that will generate mitigation and adaptation benefits. That has implication in terms of moving away from traditional road financing towards doing more of the urban mobility. That is a very complex area, more of railway, etc., etc. So yes, going forward, there will be major changes.
Thank you. Courtney?
I mentioned green shoots, and I think that I would like to see the Islamic Development Bank become the gardener of the region and to look after the green shoots in the region. We know that things are possible. It has been demonstrated. So please make certain that this grows up. It was very interesting to hear that the Islamic Development Bank adopted the first program loan this morning on sustainable urban transport. So it means that they are moving beyond project to programs. But I think that the bigger challenge is how can we use MDB money to leverage private sector money and money from institutional investors. Currently, institutional investors invest less than 1% in infrastructure. if we want to be successful in implementing this ambitious agenda that I think that we roughly all agree on, if we are not able to broaden finance, MDBs fund up to 3 or 4% of the finance need. So we really need to use MDB money in a different way to bring the others on board.
Thank you. Bang Bang, your 1 minute take.
Thank you. I think the result from the seminar, we all agree that we have to accelerate to develop the sustainable about transport. And then I hope for the all donors, see together what is the policy for each donor for Indonesia. For example, ADB policy, World Bank policy, and also GIZ policy or KfW and other donors. So it is clear for us what we are going to do for the each donor. For example, I asked the ADB go to Sumatra, something like that, and also JICA in Java area, and also World Bank maybe for the East Java, and other donors maybe for other region. You know, it is impossible. All donors go for the same place. Yeah, that's. I hope that from our seminar here, it is clear enough for me what is going to do for each donor for next.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Manfred, you need to press the button to...
Yes. I do think... does it work? Yeah. Okay. I do think that financing is pretty important, but not always the most pressing need. And that we need from the partner organizations, from the partner countries, a clear national urban transport policy, as I've mentioned in my presentation. After that, an underlying financing framework so that the required changes can be made. As well, we need charging policies because the cars are not yet sufficiently charged. Let's look at fuel prices, let's look at parking fees and so on. So we need a proper charging policy. And finally, of course, political, bold decisions. Without clear and bold decisions, we cannot achieve the scenario Connie Huizinga has been pointed out. How to achieve a 1.7 degree scenario, it's extremely difficult. And nobody has designed yet that system. We have to do that over the years. But that's pretty difficult. And therefore, we need that full chain towards sustainable urban transport. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone for coming. First, we really remind you to take this brochure, which has more detailed information about the speakers, their institutions, their websites, which you can have access for more information. So please join me to thank the panel, and we would like also in return to thank you for your patience and for your presence. Thank you very much.